Hello everyone and welcome to State of the Realm, your weekly Final Fantasy XIV podcast. This week, it's Spoilercast. Not much more to talk about. If you don't want to hear about spoilers for 4.4 here, then leave. That's it, because that's the whole show.
Fuck out.
Alright, Slyh, relax. You need to we're trying to treat them with some respect here. Alright? But yeah, no, but for real though, spoilers, everything that we can get through. And if we don't finish it in one show, we'll do it in two shows. I don't care. Because there's a lot to talk about in this one right here. It's Slyh. Slyh, I got raid tonight, so I don't know if we can fit this all in 2 hours. He's giving me faces. Anyway, let's get started. I'm one of your hosts, Michael Mr. Happy Pobromar. I'm sure you figured it out that he's here at this point. It's Slyh, Slyakagreyfox, aka Slyakagreyfox, aka my boy Blue. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty normal day.
You doing?
Yeah, we'll get through it in one.
You
get through it in one show.
You having a normal day?
Yeah, pretty normal.
Yeah, you having a normal day?
Standard.
I'm not. I'm all over the
Basic.
place. All right.
It's basic.
It's a good old basic day. Yeah? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, of course, if we're going to talk about spoilers, we literally we unfortunately have to bring someone onto the show.
Unfortunately? Wow. You know, Happy. You talk about me.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Slyh, you kind of just invited you as a formality, but luckily we have Ethis here as well, so
Jeez.
he can
Hi, Ethis.
There you go.
Hi. You are our special host. You are special to me, Ethis. I love you.
Oh, you're special.
Well, I turned the joke around and made it seem like he was the important one and you weren't, though.
Fortunately, I love you.
Oh my god.
Is that an admission of love?
Yes.
I'm speechless.
How expensive of a Mog Station band?
Way.
How expensive a Mog Station band are you gonna buy for Ethis here?
Oh, we're getting a top tier package, baby.
$20. Holy shit. That means it's serious.
Ooh.
$20 means it's serious. All right.
Ooh.
All right. How you doing, Ethis?
I'm good. I'm just sitting here stroking.
Oh, you hated those things. What are you doing?
I did, but now I love him because he's soft.
Wow, way to beauty's, you know, deeper under the skin.
The eye of the beholder?
Yeah.
Deeper than the skin?
It's deeper than the skin.
It's not about the skin, it's about the stuffing.
That's what Americans say on Thanksgiving. But anyway, on that note, we have to talk about main story stuff. That's it. There's nothing more to say other than that. So we should probably just get started. I will say this, though. I'd like to apologize to everyone. I hadn't realized the Steelseries giveaway had ended that we do. It had actually ended like 2 episodes ago. But because of the crazy schedule, I didn't keep track of it. I did pull a winner. I did contact them. Faith of Mana was the winner of that. They've been emailed. And a new one will be under the YouTube video. I've already made it. I made it right before the show went live. So that will be available under the YouTube video. So if you want to win free Steelseries stuff, they sponsor the show. They sponsor my channel. Check that out. Enter. It's free stuff. You can win free stuff. That's what else do you need to know? You can win free stuff. We'll thank the Patreon sponsors at the end because we got to get started.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're just going to talk about main story first. That's it. We're not going to beat around the bush with Four Lords and the friggin' Domin reconstruction, and which we can't even finish yet anyway. So that's it.
What about Baymega? What about Bro and
Baymega? No, we're starting with listen, if we're on a time constraint here, we're starting with the main story. Okay.
Okay.
That's it. I think that's the only thing we actually really want to talk about anyway. Everything else is there and we'll talk about it. But this is the thing.
Yeah.
So holy shit. How they just gonna do this to us, right? How you gonna put out a patch and now I gotta wait 3.5 months?
Where the fuck is his beard?
Are we serious? We're gonna start with Solace. We're gonna start.
No. The chat wants us to start with Solace.
I'm just asking a question. I'm just saying, we can get to that later. But seriously, where the fuck was his beard?
All right. So let's try to go in chronological order here. with the story, as much as I know that concept's going to quickly deteriorate. So we start this patch mostly under the pretense that something needs to be done about the Garlean's retaliation to the events of 4.3. The plan that Xenos had has taken full effect, and there's constant cries for retaliation in the Empire itself. Thancred's back already. He got all the information he needed, came back to let us know. And that's it. You know, we knew we were working towards a Garlean expansion pretty much, right? We were all on the same page with that.
Yeah.
So it all started like this, and I was kind of surprised to see Thancred back. I figured we wouldn't see him again until we were kind of on enemy soil, in a sense. He got back real quick, though.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he had to report.
So this tells us that we have had a little bit of a time skip as well, of at least, I'd say, like 3 or 4 weeks. Because he can't teleport. Like he had to walk there and walk back.
Yeah, one thing to remember, if anyone's forgotten since the events of 3.1 when we learned this, Thancred's been etherless pretty much ever since we encountered him again. So I don't know if he's picked any up along the way and has some of it back, but he pretty much has to hoof everything the hard way. He can't just teleport around anymore. And I think they kind of, along with Y'shtola's weakness, I suppose, I feel like that's a detail they've kind of just left forgotten at this point.
Yeah, it's another one of those kind of Chekhov guns, one of those things that we've tucked away for later.
It's like I feel like it all came like full circle at the end when, you know, they were called, all 3 of them, like Y'shtola, Thancred, and Urianger. Like, I forget what would maybe cause, you know, Urianger to be completely called.
He's
but,
they explain it. They explain it what actually happens there, but I'm sure we're gonna find out this completely bullshit reason as to why it's happening at some point.
Right.
But anyway, so we start this off, and we also get very quick word that Alphino never made it. And that's
very conveniently.
Yeah, and Alice is once again trying to take charge. Now she's our new Alphino for a while because he's gone and dealing with stuff on the front lines a little bit. We'll get to him a little bit later. But our early portions are really just us trying to find out what happened to Alphino. That's like the key thing that's happening at the start. And I'd say that at this point we don't feel like it's going to be a very abnormal patch story-wise. I don't know about you guys, but at first I'm like, okay. I know. I mean, at this point, really? Thancred came back. You know, we know there's a meeting that's going to be had. You know, Hien's been invited, and Alphino is never made it to his destination. We already know what happened to him with the role-playing event last night. Like, nothing out of the ordinary, I'd say, has happened too much yet, you know?
Right.
Then we go to the burn, and it slowly starts to unravel as something that things are very amiss. Ethis, what was amiss about the burn?
Well, the narrative that we have about the burn to date is that it was caused by primal summonings in the distant past. But when we get there, of course, Allagans. This Allagans.
Yeah, you literally beat the first boss, and then you're in an Allagan subterranean ship thing.
It's a mine.
Facility. It's a mine. There you go. It's
a Allagan mining facility.
It's an Allagan mining facility.
They called them ruins, but yeah, I guess we'll go with mine.
I mean, a mining facility can be in ruins.
Yeah.
You know. And as soon as you see Allagans, you know nothing's as it seems. And so we go through the burn. We start examining everything. Y'shtola can see in there somehow. I don't know how. Maybe I misunderstand. She uses her own ether to see more so than see. Well, that's the thing. She doesn't use her eyes normally anymore. But she doesn't see ether. I think she just uses her own ether to like sense her surroundings or some shit. It's like burning away at her ether stores. It's been a while. Another one of those points again that, like with Thancred, we kind of just abandoned it and hasn't mattered at all. So what was your first thought upon seeing the burn and kind of seeing that despite being what's supposed to be like void of life, it seems still quite teeming with life, and it's mostly centered around this Allagan facility?
Well, I mean, as soon as we saw the Allergan stuff in the patch trailer, I was like, all right, the burn is a lie. Whatever we've been told about the burn is complete bollocks. I wouldn't exactly call it teaming with life. I'd say life finds a way.
There's a lot of burn left there. I'm sure there's something along the way.
Yeah. Well, it seems like the fauna there is quite similar to what we see in the Void, where they're all just kind of cannibalistic. They're all like, there's no ether left on the land, so they're all kind of feeding off of each other.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it was apparent like immediately that whatever had happened there was caused by the Allergans, wasn't it?
Just finally when we thought maybe there was a plot point that wasn't Allergans.
No, of course not. So Alize did like a sort of ethereal like deep soil test and was like, hey, this is the same dirt that is in Slyh. It's exactly the same. In this big Slyh shaped hole. And look, there's a big Dalamud shaped hole over there.
The Allergans were taking the soil there to make their facilities, pretty much.
Well,
they lifted them up.
Yeah, they launched it from there as well.
Yep.
These are bombshells. These bombshells just drop kind of back to back to back throughout the rest of this. And I'd say the next part is the part where it was most people's, probably their favorite outside of the final sequence, was we need to find a way. So at this point, the Domans are afraid of retaliation. And they want to use the Allergan technology, terrible idea, by the way, to basically erect a barrier that prevents the Garleans from flying over and just bombing them to all hell, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
How do we go about doing that? Slyh? How do we go about erecting this barrier? What are we after here?
Well, we need I wouldn't say massive amounts aether, but basically we need what lifted Slyh, and we have to go to the House of Crooked Coin in Yazim's Step. But before we can do that, well, we go and check it out and make sure that we can, it's actually suitable. But before we can actually use it, we need permission. Well, we don't really need permission. I mean, we want it though.
We want it.
We kind of want it.
Yeah.
At the same time, we do need allies as well. So it's not a good idea to piss off the local folk. So we gotta go talk to the Zayla tribes. And who do we go talk to first?
You're getting ahead of yourself, Slyh. You're getting ahead of yourself. I know you're excited for Sadu here, but you gotta dial it up. You gotta dial it back, my friend.
No.
I understand that you're really excited to talk about Sadu.
Damn right I am.
But we learned something about the House of the Crooked Coin before we even get to Sadu, because Y'shtola examines it and makes sure it's suitable, but she finds something that's not entirely right here either. At this, what does she discover about the House of the Crooked Coin upon further examination?
Well, I mean, firstly, it's basically an ethereal dam. It's sort of damming the flow of ether into the burn and sort of storing up all the ether that should be flowing into the burn. But it's also kind of like starting to drain the land around it a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yep. And that's going to come into an important point a little bit later as well, because now, Slyh, we need permission. We actually go to the mole first because they're the closest ones in that little hut. And speaking of the mole, Serrena doesn't like that you're keeping her dinner, Ephes. She's a big fan of catfish.
It's mine.
Well, then, cook it.
Who isn't a big fan of catfish?
Yeah, but when you thought, let's be honest, when you go through the Namazu Beast tribe quest, you thought that the other tribes were going to try to eat them, but no, Serren is the one who wants to eat the Namazu.
Yep.
She's like, oh, delicious.
Serren is country. I like her.
She knows good food when she sees it.
Damn right.
So they go to the mole, which don't forget, we helped them win the Nadam. Doesn't really seem like they've taken up to, the whole taking over the steppe thing. But
because they relinquished it to the Oranir, like I keep thinking I was talking about this earlier. Doesn't the Oranir like being on the throne? Isn't that kind of, I don't know, more ceremonial than anything?
Yeah. This is the thing that really bothered me here, right? Is that Hian was like, "Oh, we need to go and ask the leaders of the steppe for permission." I'm like. Yo, I'm the Khan of the steppe. Did you forget?
Yeah.
Like, I'm right here. And then later when he's like, oh yes, we need to speak to all the leaders of the different parts of Othard and have a council again. I'm like, yeah, I'm technically the regent of the Azim steppe. No, just me? Okay.
I won the Nadam. That was it. Yeah. We are the ruler. We fought under the mole, but we are the rulers. We are.
Then why the fuck are the Oranir still so fucking cocky about it?
Because that's how they were raised, man.
Because they're dumb.
Yeah,
that's it. They just have enough. They just have enough blood for battle. That's about it. They're not using any in their brain. But we go to the mole. We tell them that it looks like it'll serve our purposes. They go, okay, you probably want to go talk to some of the other tribes, and then they point us to who's Slyh.
The Tharl.
And who's the leader of the Tharl, Slyh?
My baby. He's so good in the sack.
What's her name, Slyh?
Sadu.
Oh my god.
I mean, it was like sex. Like she
yeah, that was this entire sequence ends up becoming the equivalent of sex for her.
For Sato, yeah.
Yeah.
I love every minute of that. Oh my god. That was so good.
Ethis doesn't.
It was so good.
Come again?
Was it good for you, Ethis? Was it good for you?
Do you want me to, Ethis, or are you talking to Sadu?
I mean, I've had better.
All right. There you go. I mean, you're used to fighting like giant tarantulas and shit in Australia anyway, so you get that battle high all the time.
That's true.
All right. So at this point, we have to challenge the Detharl, specifically Sadu, to battle, and she doesn't. She just keeps going. She's just like, and I'm alive again, and I'm alive again, and I'm alive. That's it. She's just like she won't give up. She just wants to fight the Warrior of Light forever. If it was up to her, she would never stop fighting the Warrior of Light.
Those were orgasms, by the way. Yeah.
I mean, she literally goes, yes! Yes! She like really
spell it out for us any more precisely there, Slyh.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's Slyh, thanks. That's you know. But then the Oranir show up, and Magni, he wants part of the action too. He's like, can't do this without us. We gotta fight too.
To burn the entire step down. Like she probably would have too.
Oh, if it means winning, yeah. If it means a good fight, she'll burn everything down, man. It don't matter. But Magni over there grabs his closest monk friend and decides he wants to pick a fight with Y'shtola and Hian. And we have to play as Y'shtola here, which is kind of weird.
Is it?
That was great. I liked that.
It was kind of strange because the last time we used the role playing feature, we were like really far away and seeing it another time.
It made sense last time, didn't it?
Yeah, this time it was just like
doing it for the sake of doing it.
Because the Warrior of Light was still fighting Sadu while we were fighting as Y'shtola, so it was a little weird. And her being a white mage isn't exactly the most exciting of I'd rather have played as Hian of the two, personally speaking. But we beat up Magni. Doesn't matter. We beat him and his friend up.
Yeah.
And then we get permission to use it. And then we encounter...
No,
we already had... No, we get permission first, Sly.
Okay.
Then what happens?
The Burn Savage.
I didn't see this coming, man. None of it.
Really?
I don't think anyone saw that this was about... No one saw that this event was like, this is about to happen. Because Magni thinks he's found his moon. We always talk about Magni finding his moon, and he thinks he's found it in Y'shtola. Falls in love with her on the field of battle.
Was that really so surprising?
Not
yeah!
really.
I was pretty fucking surprised.
I wasn't surprised at all. I mean, he respects strength, so...
He'll take a shot at anything. It's not even strength. He'll take a shot at literally anything.
But seriously, okay, Serrha, who beat him in the Nadam, technically, you know, and then Y'shtola, who hands down beat him, like, he respects strength more than anything, I think. Like, he's not going to take, like, a dainty woman. Like, he probably would make her run at least if she beat him. But, yeah, a strong woman. He wants a strong one.
That's why, I mean, they might be from different tribes, but him and Sadu are really the couple that are made for each other right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a match made in heaven. They just don't know it yet. Or hell, I guess, in their case, because that sure as hell not heaven. But, you know, Magni's got to let her know how he feels. He's a romantic, you know. Talks about how, I always thought maybe my moon wasn't here in the Azim steppe. That maybe it was someone outside the Zela tribes. He goes through this whole poetic "Will you be my moon" sequence. And how does she rebuttal? How does Y'shtola rebuttal?
I am not interested, little son. Come back when you're a man.
With a smile on her face. She just looks at him, she's like, no. Little son. I want to know what that scene's like in other languages.
Little.
He's so shattered. In that moment, you could see the moment his heart left his chest. You can just see it.
And then Sadu just pours it on. Little son. And
then we start World War III between the fucking Zela tribes.
And then Y'shtola's like, yeah, we don't have time for this, and just walks straight.
She literally walks between them. They're like, I'm gonna kill you. And she's like, all right, I'm out. That's it. Y'shtola's like, listen, they tried killing me at the beginning of this expansion. I got no airtime since then. I'm fucking making my time known here. For about an hour, and then, you know, some other shit's gonna happen. But that was a wonderful main story sequence. The whole thing. Yes. I was wondering where they were going with the steps since the trailer, because we saw House of the Crooked Coin, but we really had no fucking idea what it was actually going to boil down to. I don't know if you guys did.
I mean, we had our suspicions, didn't we?
I mean, we knew that Sadu and Magni, clearly there was going to be a fight.
Yeah. Well, we knew that the House of the Crooked Coin had to be some kind of Allegan generator, or, you know, something to that effect.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be important. It was in the trailer. I didn't see the rest of the sequence playing out like this, both in comedy and execution. Especially with the roleplay action. Kind of shocked me. At this point, though, I still feel like it's been a pretty standard patch. You know, we got Alligans involved. You know, that's new. We know some stuff is amiss. We now have ether flowing back to the burn, which is interesting because
no unintended consequences there. No.
Well,
none whatsoever.
I'm also just curious, does that mean, like, expansion wise, by the time we get to the expansion, is there ether there? Is there more life there? Like,
yeah, it's like things are gonna be starting to grow there again. I wouldn't be surprised if
that quickly though.
Yeah, it'll happen pretty quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to, well, if we like return to that zone, or if things start to come out of that zone, right? Suddenly throwing a bunch of ether in there, maybe the monsters that are still there are going to start, feeding on that. I don't know. Maybe Zone Eater gets revived as a result.
Zone Eater is, for those who don't know, old Final Fantasy boss, Final Fantasy VI, if I recall. He's the one where he eats you and then you go into his stomach and you find what's his face? Yeah,
old mate.
Old. Is that what you call him? You call Go old mate?
I call everyone old mate.
Yeah, well, that's just you. So, yeah, we've got that. Now that's something worth talking about because it's worth remembering that when we revisit dungeons after the story, we're using the Echo to relive those experiences. So, like, chronologically, something can happen after that changes it and still not affect the dungeon itself. So we can't just be like, oh, it's a dungeon that can't change it. So we could technically go there as a zone in the next expansion.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if we will, though, because if it's just life, that means like what, we'd be making a forward outpost or something.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, so, like what are you gonna do there? You like other than a scouting outpost or something? Because it's not Garleans aren't gonna do shit.
Well, I don't know about that. So the reason we're activating the House of the Crooked Coin and disabling the House of the Crooked Coin, perhaps might be the better term for it, to restore ether to the burn, is because the Garleans, since they raised Rabanasta, they don't have enough fuel to reach Offard in one trip without going directly over the burn.
So you're saying that the burn is going to be a new refueling post,
or they want it to be?
It's not going to be a new refueling post so much, but we're setting up a massive force field there to prevent the Allagans from flying through it, so that they can't take that direct route and invade Doma again. But there's nothing stopping the Allagans from launching like a land invasion on that Allagan facility in the burn, is there?
No, nothing.
There's just there's just the only people that are there are Garlon Ironworks. They're not really going to be able to hold it and defend it. I just think it would seem kind of strange if the Garleans didn't try and take that outpost.
People are suspecting in the next expansion that we're going to have something like that with the new fate system they introduced in the Rising event, where it kind of more directly chains them together. We're kind of hoping for some sort of dynamic zone fates that adjust the way the zone actually behaves. So perhaps that could be one of the first key points that we hit. Could be
possible.
Yeah.
Anything there?
Yeah, it could be.
But with this, now that we have this barrier that's essentially being erected in the burn with the ether, with the Allagan tools, trying to replicate the barrier that was around Azislaw, specifically the one that we needed the shit that was inside Bismarck to actually reach. Now we're feeling a little bit safer. Doma's feeling a little safer. So, we've hit that point in the story where, like, yeah, we did what we were supposed to do. We did it. We're heroes.
Yay.
Yeah. Not for much longer. Because this is where everything starts to come apart. Like, it was already happening with the burn, but now they're 2.55 in us again, because we know this shit's not gonna fucking kill anybody, but
probably not.
Probably not. I guess we can't say that for certain.
Right.
But we go to that meeting between the different leaders. We're all talking about how to deal with the Garleans, because obviously they're getting riled up a little bit. Ascian, giving orders. At this point, everyone is pretty convinced Xenos is being controlled by an Ascian. I'm glad it didn't take them fucking 3 patches to figure it out like it normally does. Like,
Right.
I wonder what could possibly be happening. I don't know. Guess we'll wait till someone in the game tells us. No, they figured it out as soon as, like, Xenos is alive. That's an Ascian. Even the in-game characters are like us at this point, just like, it's an Ascian. I don't need to be told. Yeah. That's just what it is. But some shit goes pretty sour at this event. Thancred suggests that we start spreading rumors throughout the Empire that an Ascian is controlling one of their leading bodies to, create civil unrest. Because the Garleans are pretty against all that shit. And as soon as that suggestion is accepted, all of a sudden the scions that are present there, Thancred, Y'shtola, Alisei, and us, we start to, I'm going to say the equivalent of having a seizure. And we start hearing a voice. And they're all freaking out as they hear this voice. And then at the end of it all, Thancred passes out, to which we'll talk about in a little bit. So what was our first thought here with this event? We'll go ahead and determine that Connie Senna officially calls it being called, which is the idea of like your ether almost being, I suppose, ripped out to communicate, or like the communication is like pulls on your ether and then it can pull too hard.
Anima is being separated from your body.
So that way you can communicate with somebody else's anima, pretty much.
So I want to know what you guys think is going on before I start.
Sly, I'll let you go first.
Well, obviously it's a warning. The question is from whom? We know what the warning is dealing with. Like, it's obviously Zodiark.
I don't think that's that obvious.
I don't think it's obvious.
I don't think it's that obvious.
Anything in particular.
Yeah.
I think they're setting up. I think they're really setting up for it. Now, again, I call it a warning. The question is, who is the warning from? People are saying the Warrior of Darkness. Now, the only issue I have with that is, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Warrior of Darkness is on another shard, correct?
He's also supposed to have died, like fully died when he went back. He's supposed to have, not to say he did.
Well, they said the echo, so he can't fully die. That's the thing. So
that's the only thing. Yeah.
Being dead means that your anima is separated from your body and that your anima sort of disintegrates and disperses. But someone with the echo, their anima doesn't do that. It doesn't need a body. It just stays intact. So the Warrior of Darkness being dead just means that his soul is drifting around in the ether somewhere around the first shard.
Okay.
And he'd have to come a pretty long way to get our attention. Not that he hasn't done the trip before.
I mean, he has assistance.
He does have some pretty reliable assistance in this case.
Right.
My
other thought is like descent among Ascians. There could be an Ascian who is kind of on our side, but I think that's kind of far-fetched, in my opinion. So it can go maybe one of two ways. What do you say?
I think there's probably about 6 different ways this goes, minimum. And there's a lot of possibilities when it comes to that. So first of all, there's the quote itself here is kind of the first thing you want to look at. You can think about who the voice is from, why they're reaching out to us, blah. But looking at the quote itself, it's a quote that's eerily similar and in Japanese word for word, taken from Final Fantasy Tactics Final Dungeon. Which, considering the Ascians are named after the Scions of Light and Ivalice, I don't think it wouldn't be too much of a surprise in regards to that.
Now, which quote are you referring to?
It's the throw wide the gates that we may pass quote.
Yeah.
So
ahead looms a calamity, all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Ahead looms light. The all-consuming light, all that stuff. But the big thing here is, and this is probably the one I hope it doesn't happen, but the quote "Eon become instant" is the one that concerns me, because Eon is a reference of time. Yes,
we were talking about that, so yeah.
You need to take that in context.
Yeah, it needs to be taken in context, but it's still a scary term to start hearing when it comes to the idea of history must be changed. Eon become instant, yada yada yada.
So what do you think is going on here, Mike? What do you think is happening?
I'm in the boat that it's the Warrior of Darkness, his anima in some way. His anima can only communicate with us in this sort of way. It can't physically communicate with us. That does leave the question of what's happening to the others. It's assumed that's just an It's just because they're being called. It's almost not malicious, but it seems it's not so much malicious. But the Warrior of Darkness always did his actions under the pretense that they did everything right the first time, and everything was still lost. And now we're doing everything right, and we're gonna lose our shit. So they don't care how they do it, but they need to stop it from happening again. So it's up in the air whether the loss of the anima of 3 scions at this point is malicious or not. But at the very least, it's preventative. My bigger thing to lock onto here is the Twin Dooms comment, because Twin Dooms has a few different meanings. I've seen a few different interpretations. For me, the 2 biggest dooms are Hydaelyn and Zodiark. Because Hydaelyn is causing trouble by trying to overflow everything with light, and Zodiark's trying to cause shit to go really wrong to bring back the balance of darkness because Hydaelyn's light is so strong. And they're both a fucking menace to mortal life pretty much at this point. Because they're both, it's more like a struggle for power between the 2 of them than it is, oh, light is good or darkness is bad kind of thing. And then on top of that, Twin Dooms... Yo, Alisei and Alphinaud have been twins. We've been looking at them for a while. These 2 fuckers have been integrated in everything that we've been doing. And they've been pushing their agenda on us for a pretty long time.
That's taking it very literally.
It is. Literally. It is. But I'm saying that since they showed up, the rate at which things have propelled towards either absolute light or have kind of propelled towards absolute light has become exponentially faster.
Now, I will give you this. Aren't they one of the first people we see?
They're literally on the fucking thing with the guy. The little carriage, little wagon with the guy.
That would be a hell of a setup, honestly. Like, I don't want to believe it, but that would be a really fucked up setup if it were kind of in reference to that. Okay, go further.
What, do you think they're like Asians or something?
I wouldn't say they're Asians.
I almost think like they're unwilling agents of Hydaelyn in a sense that like push her agenda more so than they realize. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the Warrior of Light is
that's what
he's a direct sort of representation, but we don't really have an agenda. We follow their agenda. We follow everyone else's agenda that's not ours. We just go to problems and what we're told are problems and fix them. We get involved. And it's always Alphinaud or Alisei being like, no, we need to go do this. No, we need to go do that. This needs to happen. That needs to happen. Unwitting agents that guide us through, Hydaelyn's agenda.
So you're really jumping on this twins thing, huh?
I'm in one of those 2 boats. It's either it's either referring to Zodiark and Hydaelyn, or it's referring directly to Alphinaud and Alisei.
Okay. All right. I think that the popular theory at the moment is that it's the Warrior of Darkness speaking to us, and it does sound a lot like Albert's voice. I'll give you that. But we're making the assumption that whoever's talking to us is also the person that's causing that calling.
Yeah, that's what I'm operating under the assumption of. Yeah.
Yeah. So Albert has a pretty good understanding of the Echo. He knows that something like that could be done to us without a huge amount of risk. Why doesn't he just talk to us? Why does he do it to all the Scions when he's causing such a massive risk of the other Scions to actually, die as a result or be unable to return to their bodies as a result? I think that we shouldn't be assuming that it's Albert that is doing that. I think we've got one precedent. We got one president only to work on for what's happening here, for what's literally happening here. And that's Aulus and his soul extraction and his experiments on us in Alamigo. My word, this data, I must share these findings. That is the only precedent that we have for what is literally happening here. If we follow that precedent, I think it's possible that the Garlands are developing a way to attack the Scions remotely by literally ripping their souls out of their bodies. And that perhaps Albert is just taking advantage of that to send us a warning. Maybe it's just his timing is just fortuitous. I think that's quite possible. I do think that it probably is Arbor. It does sound a lot like his voice. So he says, ahead looms light, expunging all form and life. That just immediately
Screams Arbor.
Yeah, it screams Arbor. It makes us think of, the doom that he was trying to forestall on the first, right?
Right.
Yeah.
He's saying history must be changed. Again, the timing with this, it seems that it's almost implying that if we go ahead with Thancred's plan, and if we do succeed in destroying the Asians and excising the seed of chaos from the Garlean Empire, that we will cause a flood of light, and that we can't allow that to happen.
Yeah.
Twin dooms only you can forestall. So it seems like on one hand we've got this flood of light that's going to occur if we go ahead with this plan, but if we don't stop what Elidibus and Solus are doing here, then we've got another calamity on the horizon.
That's why I went with Hydaelyn and Zodiark as the first most prominent guess, because either way we're screwed on one end of the foot or the other.
Yeah. So this is a really, really tough one. And maybe this brings us to, the supposed title of the expansion, the theme of the expansion being Shadowbringers. But it almost seems like this warning is implying that we actually need to facilitate a calamity. We need to allow a calamity to happen in order to prevent this flood of light. And the way we would go about doing that, I suppose, is kind of in the way that Louis Soir sort of, I wouldn't say necessarily facilitated, but the way he sort of allowed and subsequently mitigated the previous calamity was like, well, it had to happen. We got to do it to him, but let's see if we can do it without destroying all of civilization in the process. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was almost like calamity light.
Yeah.
Now, one small question. Only you. Is he speaking to all of the Scions or to the Warrior of Light?
I'm speaking to all of them.
I mean, he's speaking to all. He's speaking to us like as a faction, but at the same time, he's like specifically speaking to the Warrior of Light, isn't he? As the agent here.
Yeah.
It kind of bothers me that it almost seems like even if he is talking to the rest of them, it's like they can't make out the words. Because they just keep saying they heard a voice. They're
not sure what exactly they heard.
Yeah,
because they don't have the echo. They can't maintain that sort of that clarity, if you will, with their soul extracted from their body. That would be incredibly disorienting, incredibly painful. Whereas for us, it's like, oh yeah, all right, whatever. We're not disintegrating. We're not having our soul ripped apart as a result of this. It's just like, well, this is a little bit uncomfortable and awkward. So the next thing he says, let expanse contract, eon become instant. People are focusing on the eon become instant. And they're like, oh shit, time travel. Oh no. You need to take this whole line in context. We're talking about a compression. First of all, expanse contract, the compression of space, and eon become instant, a compression of time. What we're talking about here is a rejoining.
Makes sense.
Let compression happen. Let compression specifically of space and time happen. Let a rejoining occur. That's what a rejoining is. It's the compression of one dimension into another. Like that's the technical term for it. It's dimensional compression, right? So that's why I'm thinking it's sort of implying that at least according to whoever is saying this, they believe that we need to allow a rejoining, allow a calamity. We have to facilitate it. Throw wide the gates that we may pass. Well, if a rejoining does occur, then it would be presumably rejoining the first to the source, and subsequently all the ether of the first to the source, and subsequently allowing the Warrior of Darkness and all of his compadres to return to the source.
Yeah, and it also pans in with another point that we kind of, when we were talking about House of the Crooked Coin, we kind of jumped past this, and it's brought up, I think, right after Thancred's soul is ripped from his body, in a sense. When we go to speak to Urdion J, it's revealed that across all of Eorzea, there are just spots where ether is either being halted or just being drained slowly. It's kind of similar to what the House of the Crooked Coin was doing to the burn. That has no proximity to primal summoning.
The ethereal, basically the density of the land's ether is thinning, which I think some people take to represent a kind of thinning of the membrane between the dimensions as well. But basically, it's the exact same phenomenon that was observed immediately before the 7th Umbral Calamity.
Yeah, it's when all the Aetherytes started turning off and all the Void Scent started invading in. It's drawn. It's in-game drawn comparison-wise immediately to that. But it's also, if it is going to be a rejoining, I mean, that's what the idea of the rejoining is. You know, that's what they're trying to cause. So if there is a calamity on the way, then it makes perfect sense. And if we're supposed to allow the calamity, then it makes even more sense. I think we're getting ready for the cataclysm of Final Fantasy XIV again, where they're going to rework all the old zones and shit at this point.
Oh, I hope they do. I don't know if they're going to rework all the old zones, but man, I hope they do.
That's a lot.
I don't think that's 5.0 though. I think that's a plot. I think that's by 6. 5.0 I feel like would be too soon for that to happen. I feel like there's so much we haven't seen yet that the idea of reworking the old shit before you even see all the new shit is kind of...
I feel like what we've done at the House of the Crooked Coin will help stall that a little bit and help mitigate that a little bit. That's restoring a shitload of ether into the land.
Into one specific area though.
Yeah, but it's all connected. That's the thing. It's like we've had a tourniquet around one of Heidelin's limbs for the past 5,000 years.
I mean, even just thinking of the ether that's actually in the land to the north of there, I mean, it would cut off that ether from the rest of the ether of the world, wouldn't it? In a sense. Like, maybe that's why Garleans are so ether-starved as a race. They've been, since Allegan times, they've lacked exposure to new ether flowing into their land.
That's actually a really interesting point. Maybe it's such like a major ley line that it's literally like starving Ilzabad of its like main kind of flow of ether. That's possible. I hadn't thought of that, but that might be reading into it too much. But at the same time, that's a pretty interesting idea.
I'll just keep that in my pocket of potential things. That's what I'll do.
Yeah, you should.
All right. And that's kind of like what I'd say. All that's kind of what makes this so exciting. I feel like of all the times we've had a lot of questions after a main story patch, these are probably the most exciting questions.
They're the ones with the most impact, the most potential impact, I think.
We haven't even gotten to the one with the most impact yet. The ultimate revelation that I think shocked I don't think there's a single person.
Everybody.
I think we all had an inkling of some involvement, but not to the degree that we actually were exposed to here. So after that meeting, Kane-Senna explains what being called is. You know, we go to see Urianger. He explains the ether-starved parts of the world unrelated to primal summoning. We lose Y'shtola and Urianger to being called as well. Same voice. We still haven't lost Alice. Of course not. And Alphino, it's unknown if he's being affected at all because we never see him on screen while it's happening.
Right.
But then we go into a few end sequences here after everyone's been affected by the call, by the calling, by all these questions that we have. We go to the scene from the trailer where you hear Xenos talk about, the Popularis and how.
Wait.
What?
I think you're skipping over one.
Okay, go
small
for it.
Detail.
Go for it.
And to me, I don't know the purpose of the visit, but to Lenosia and visiting Gabu.
That was so fucking stupid. We just said
I don't know why that happened. I don't know the significance. Why were we visiting Gabu? What does he have to do with anything?
He better be fucking Heidelin as a kobold or some shit for me to have wasted my time going over there.
No, he's not Heidelin as a kobold. He's a precedent for I think he's going to be.
He's not a Chekhov's gun, though.
He's not. Nothing. He's not a Chekhov's gun. I think that he. So what is it we do with tempered people historically when people are tempered?
Kill them.
Yeah, we put them to death because there's
Gabu
nothing.
Was a special case.
Gabu, I think, serves as a precedent that it can be reversed somehow. That there is some way to cure or reverse it. And I think that that's going to become salient again in the coming patches. And we just needed to be like reminded of that, basically.
All I'm saying is that it better come to something. Because if that's one of those plot points.
It always comes to something.
But I need to know it's coming to something soon. Because again, the whole Ishtola Thancred thing's like being abandoned now for like 3 years. It's kind of like when they first brought up Omega. And we're just like, cool. And then it was gone for like 3 years, and then Nero's just like, well, you guys know what to do. We need Omega. And it's just like,
but that's exactly the thing. Like, there's no dead ends in this game, and there never has been.
Right.
I just want to see something come to this, because I was like, okay, hi, Gabu. Oh, he looked up, so there's hope for him. Got it.
That was it. Yeah, I thought that was really disappointing. I thought, like, maybe, what's the significance of this? What does it have to do with anything that's going on? So, Ethis, you're saying it's a kind of semi setup for something in the future?
Yeah, of course it is.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Listen, that kid's got no parents. They died.
Yep.
He's got no. He doesn't think he has any friends. He's fucked up in the head.
He's halfway between tempered and not tempered, in my opinion.
And I don't really feel like I learned anything new about Alice A in that sequence.
She's just mopey.
Yeah. I didn't feel like she developed anything from going to see Gabu.
I think it's character building for her. I think it is.
I don't think she's acting any different or any... I don't think she's built any... Maybe she will build something from this at some point.
She thinks that basically all of her friends, all the people that she looks up to in times of crisis have gone into comas, basically, and she's all on her own, and it's just kind of showing that she's capable of, like, picking herself up.
I feel like I've done this with her already. I dealt with her learning to pick herself up in Coil, where she thought she needed Louis Suave the whole time.
Yeah, but that wasn't MSQ, was it?
No, but she refers to it because I did it.
Yeah, she does refer to it. Yeah, but there's a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of like people that hadn't done Coil. They never really met Alize or had anything to do with Alize before Stormblood. Really?
No.
Yeah, but I feel like that's the problem for me. I feel like I've already had this moment with her. I feel like
that's their problem.
That's us.
Go do Coil.
That's their problem.
Go unsync that shit, and you'll understand how I feel.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Coil was like the MSQ follow up to 1.x. So if you want to say you've done all the MSQ,
Coil's MSQ. Yeah, Coil's MSQ. Warring Triad is MSQ.
Yeah.
Crystal Tower is MSQ. Everything is MSQ, all right?
Yeah. Coil's
Warlords?
MSQ.
No, not Four Lords.
Not Four Lords. We even agree on that. No, not Four Lords.
Four Lords is not MSQ.
Yeah. Okay. So we come to this scene after we had our moment with Gabu, where we see Xenos talking to Varys. Varys won't say shit. And if you somehow already were like still doubting Xenos was just Elidibus in his fucking body, there's no point in doubting it, because he literally shows the scene where he took his mask off at this point. So there's no question that it's pretty funny though, because now I imagine Xenos' face on the tiny Elidibus body standing next to Varys.
Right. It's so weird, isn't it?
And it just makes me laugh. I was laughing when that scene happened because I was just thinking of the big head on.
Well, he probably just had a bit of like muscle atrophy from being dead for several weeks.
Nah, I'm sure they took his body within days. As soon as that shit was in the ground, they took it. No doubt. And we all kind of think the scene's gonna end after Xenos walks away. You can almost see Varys sort of showing contempt for Ascians at this point in such a way that he was already showing it before, but now it's like you know what? I know what the Ascians want me to do, and I'm not going to do it. Like, if I'm going to do it, I want it to be my decision. He feels like he's a puppet at this point, kind of. You get that feeling while Xenos is still on the screen and while he's walking away. You confirm it when the follow-up to that happens. A young, lively gentleman walks out from behind the throne with a question mark over his nameplate and refers to Varys as his grandson.
And that's when I just say no.
You going? What's his name? What's the movie where what's his name? I can't remember the actor's name.
Tracy Morgan.
Tracy Morgan. No.
Morgan. Yeah.
No. Hell no.
No.
I refuse.
My exact reaction to that. Like no. And then you see the nameplate.
If you doubted it, as soon as, because here's the thing, he says grandson, and then they don't show the nameplate till he says grandson a second time, which is kind of weird. Mm-hmm. But it's none other than Solace. And he says a quote that shakes up everything. When starting with the burn, we already knew some shit was being lied to. We didn't know we were being lied to this much. At this, I'm sure you have the quote. What does he say to Varys?
Okay. Let me find it for you.
He has it. I know he does. I was watching him take screenshots on his stream.
If what threatens balance, twixt light and dark forces you remove it, that is why the Empire exists, why I built it. Pity is bliss, blah, blah, blah. The founding father was an Ascian, and he created the Empire solely for the purpose of sowing the seeds of chaos.
That's it. The Empire has literally been Ascians. We thought the Ascians were just going to be there and like controlling. Oh, no, yeah, we thought they were going to be playing Puppet Master here. We didn't know it was created by Ascians.
We thought it was probably La Habrea, like puppeteering Solace the whole time. So do you guys have any thoughts? Is there anything to say before I go on a narrative?
Primal summoning and killing primals has never fucking been the point. They never wanted to quell primals being summoned. They never really wanted that shit. It was never the goal of the Empire. They lied about everything. All their people have no idea. They're fucking clueless. They'll all side with us once they fucking find it all out. We're good.
Okay.
It makes
and how the fuck did Solace have a grandson?
Well, I didn't see a problem with that.
No.
How did he go about that? Keeping that shit a secret.
It makes the whole Xeno situation a lot more brighter.
It understands why the fucking Ascian took his body as soon as he lost it. He's like, well, that's kind of mine already anyway, so I'm just gonna take that real quick.
Let's start at the beginning with the Garlands, right? We have this small, underrepresented, ethereally inept, and subsequently, much, much weaker than other races, small subsect of heroes that may or may not have been genetically engineered Allagan slaves, but at one point had, a decent slice of Orthard to themselves, that got invaded and pushed north and invaded and pushed north and invaded and pushed north until they were in the frozen north of Ilzabad and the shittiest part of the whole bloody planet, with this long history of being invaded and oppressed and conquered by other people. And then someone comes along and shows them shows them where Ceruleum is, teaches them some Allagan secrets, and says to them, hey, we don't have to put up with this. If you guys really want, we can actually conquer all of these jabronis. Basically weaponizes their history of oppression, and forms from it this hyper-nationalism, which allows them to form an empire.
Man, this sounds like what happens with the beast tribes multiplied a thousandfold, where they're oppressed and sheltered into corners, small pockets of the world, and made desperate enough. Man, that sounds familiar. It only spawned the entire empire.
Yeah, it does sound like 1930s Germany, and that's not a coincidence. And then the emperor sort of, finds and identifies, a handful of other ambitious warriors that don't really have any kind of aligning goals other than conquest, and send them out to do their own thing. Eventually they stumble upon this massive area, which is completely devoid of ether. And people ask Solus, oh my goodness, what happened there? What caused it? And he says, yes, there's primals. It's because people believe in gods. Look how powerful this belief is. Look how magnificent a weapon is. We got to make sure that nobody can use that. You hear that, everybody? Don't use this weapon against us. It's too powerful. We will have to stop you. We've been making the point since A Realm Reborn, and it's a point that we finally got across to Gaius, that the Garlean policy against primals is what causes primals.
Yeah.
It's what inspires the beast tribes to summon primals, is the Empire's institutionalized fear of primals. The fact that they're so big and powerful, and yet they're so worried about this, this secret summoning technique and the amount of trouble and chaos that it can cause. So Solus's anti-primal policy perpetuates the summoning of primals, and subsequently the escalation of chaos across the world. So Solus creates these conditions where he can basically sit on the top and watch his legatuses, traipse around the world, causing wars and sowing chaos, and really doesn't have to do anything about it. He grows old, he has children, he creates a dynasty. His model body dies. He makes sure that he doesn't elect an heir, so that this empire, creates even more chaos by having an internal civil war, a war of succession. That's going great. Everything's going as planned. And then Varys wins, and Varys starts to kind of democratize things a little bit. And Varys allows this faction, or the populares, to sort of get his ear a little bit. And suddenly Garlemald is becoming slightly less chaotic. And that's not good. And
no, it's not for that.
Elidibus basically needs to call Solus back out of retirement.
Yeah, is that just Solus as a young man, or is that another body? What is that?
I mean, it could be another body, but he sort of replicates it so easily.
Yeah, he literally gets shot, loses the body, and then just goes, "No, this is mine still."
He can form another body out of
your time and a waste of my time.
He just really likes that look. Why even going through the trouble of dying? He just goes through the trouble of dying to sow chaos, but what was his plan after? He was just going to watch? What was his next step? That's a pretty big next step.
Job done. I mean, the thing is, the Ascians, as we know, they're all about creating the conditions where they suddenly don't have to interfere and the world will kind of tear itself apart, right? So he created this system, and then created a sort of a dynasty, and he could just sit back and watch, and really didn't have to interfere. He could focus on other things, on his side projects or whatever. It was only as a result of Varys, who we've been thinking has been the one that's been detracting from Solus's plan, and he's kind of greedy and manipulative, and he's kind of going in the wrong direction. It turns out that he's the one that wants to give power to people, and he's the one that's sort of been trying to quietly subvert this Ascian plan. And as a result, Elidibus is no, we need to get Daddy Solus back in here.
Yeah, because Elidibus walks up to him and he says, literally, just say that we can attack, and we'll be there immediately. And he won't say it. He's just like, I'm not part of it. Varys is very slowly becoming on our, like, I mean, at this point, it's pretty much confirmed him and us are kind of aligned in interests.
Yeah.
Well, he says
he's an unknowing ally at this point.
Man is the master of his own destiny. And that's the myth that what the Garlean Empire has been all about, is the rejection of gods and deities and, you know, fatalistic controlling forces and the Garlean sort of, you know, taking their own destiny in their own hands. Of course, that's a complete lie. But it's something that
believes it.
It's something that Varys still believes.
Something Gaius believes in too.
Yeah, it was something that Gaius believes, and Gaius thought that Solus believed. So he sort of bought into the myth. And this also explains, which is something that you know has always confused us, is why Gaius was so trusting of La Habrea despite knowing who and what La Habrea was.
Because Solus just said, hey, trust this guy.
Yeah, he would have trusted La Habrea implicitly because he had such respect and reverence for Solus.
Dude, everything comes together in such a way that I've never been so mind blown at the end of a fucking story patch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've known or we've, you know, been certain the whole time that the Ascians have been, again, sort of puppeteering the Empire and steering the direction of history. They were doing it to the Allergans. They've been doing it to everyone basically forever. But for Garlemald to be so directly an Ascian venture and an Ascian project, just everything makes sense in that context now. All of the apparent, I guess, paradoxes about Garlean policy and Garlean culture suddenly all make sense in this context.
And that's a lot to put sense to.
Yeah, it's great. It's really, really great.
I'd also like to point out that whoever is playing as Arden, I mean Solus, doing a fantastic job.
It is fucking Arden, isn't it? He's straight up.
Yeah, it may not be Darren DePaul, but it's Arden. I feel pretty confident in saying that. He was a pleasure. Oh, I'm so glad they voiced that scene, because they always like voice half of them, like don't voice half of them. The scene after this they don't voice, which we'll talk about in a second too, because that's also a very important scene. But this, I'm glad they decided to voice this scene when they brought Solus onto the field. And Solus approved of Project Meteor, which was Sid's project, or Sid's father's project. So like that makes sense,
which
too.
Gaius didn't agree with, which is the first thing that Gaius sort of like stood against Solus on, precisely because it was going to cause so much chaos and destruction. Whereas Gaius thought he was bringing order. That's what he thought. That's what he was trying to do. That's what he was about.
That's what he's still about.
Little did he know.
Yeah, he just had no idea.
Yeah,
and it adds so much more weight to Gaius now. I mean, sure, we're still making the assumptions, but guys, it's fucking Gaius.
Listen, the Burns music was a remix of like the Praetorium's, like it's literally a remix
Gaius.
of a Gaius song, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it adds so much more weight to him being an Ascian hunter now, is that like not only was it personal with La Habrea, it was personal with, you know, his hero and surrogate father.
Gaius has to know. Like, he has to just know.
I don't know.
At this point.
I don't know if he does. I think he.
Why would he take this cause?
He was mentioning in the last patch that, you know, the Empire has been infected, and that, you know, the inner circle is basically controlled by the Ascians. I think he still believes that Garlemald was at one point what he thought it was. I don't think he knows that Solus is an Ascian. And I think that when he discovers that, that's going to be a really sort of climactic moment.
They're setting Gaius up for a lot here. We already knew he had to be important. If you're going to bring that guy back from the proposed dead, he's got to be set up for big things. And the Garleans all are kind of being set up for kind of huge things. One that gets left behind in its entirety is the actual Xenos, who is still inhabiting an Elysian body and is on the hunt. Who else calls it the hunt?
Well, again, probably.
Who else? Come on. Who else calls it the Hunt?
Oh no, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you.
Probably. He got left behind. So he's got it. We're looking forward to him in 4.5, hopefully. Because I don't want him to just pop up suddenly in 5. I want one more thing to happen with him at the very least before we bring ourselves into the next expansion. The last scene after the Solace reveal is the scene with Gaius and Alphino, the one that's in the trailer. And I want to give credit to Fusion X, who we had on the show 2 weeks ago, who, when he saw the bodies in the trailer, his first reaction was, I think that's the Black Rose. That was his first assumption. He thought it was the biological weapon that we go through the quest line for in the Fringes. Yeah,
credit to him, because when I first saw this scene, I thought that basically something was happening with the burn, where the burn was like, where it was like expanding and starting to like kill and drain off other things. But yeah, no, it's Black Rose.
And things are getting even more personal for Gaius at this point. Because he's another project he was not really for was biological weapons, because he was all about dominate having, like, he's tried to stop Meteor because he was like, well, if this is successful, there won't be people there. There won't be a land to have. There won't be people to command. There won't be people to protect from all of this. So he's pretty pissed that they're using the Black Rose now as weapons against their own kind, of all things too. Which this is why I think Gaius knows, because I feel like the Asians at least know he's killing Asians. So anyone they can stop who's affiliated with him.
Gaius is one of the only people that knows that Black Rose exists.
Yeah, he was one of the few people. He's mentioned by name in the questline in the Fringes, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was basically a etherochemist working for him for the 14th Legion that developed Black Rose's chemical weapon and did some tests, basically without Gaius really knowing, and he shut it down, and he sort of destroyed all evidence of it and all record of it, and he had the basically everything destroyed. A couple of samples got buried underneath the tree, the big tree
in the south of the Fringes. Yeah.
And subsequently, its fruit became like super, super toxic, which the Ananta Kalyana were actually starting to use against several groups of people. Anyway, there's a whole long quest chain.
It's worth doing.
Which is absolutely worth doing for people who haven't done it. Associated with Black Rose, that can give you some context for this.
Isn't it also mandatory for the Ananta beast tribes?
I think it might be.
I think it might be.
I think it might be compulsory for the Ananta beast tribes now. Yeah.
Okay. Chat's saying it is. It is. It is indeed. So if you skipped over it, now you got to go back and actually, like,
you should
boost another character. As Yoshi P would say, make a new character and play it again.
Yeah, you want to do those single player MSQ instances? Make a new character.
There you go. Especially the one with Sadu and all the role playing ones with Magni. And there you go. Perfect. And this is a scene where we start to see at this point, things have happened off screen between Gaius and his comrades. There, you know, they've been traveling. They've probably been communicating at some point. I don't think Alphino knows it's Gaius yet, but at this point, whatever Gaius has said or in what he did back in the burn is Alphino's warming up to him in a way he warmed up to Estinian.
Alphino is so dumb sometimes.
Yeah,
like he's so smart sometimes, and he's so dumb sometimes.
Care to elaborate? As if you need to.
No, I just mean that, like, he's like a idiot savant. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes he does like this Sherlock Holmes kind of shit, and then other times he's just completely oblivious to things that are happening around him.
I wouldn't say he's oblivious though, but like,
he seems pretty fucking oblivious about this, doesn't he?
Yeah. Because here's the thing, like I was saying, it was pretty relieving to have everyone say, well, that's probably an Asian. And Alphino is probably the one person I would not expect to make that assumption. Like, every other character goes, it's got to be an Asian. Alphino's the one character where I feel like he'd go, man, what's the logic behind, like, how could that possibly be? He's that guy.
He's got a daddy fixation.
Yeah, and he's lacking in father figure. I'd say Alice is the same way when you see her in Coil. They're like both.
Oh, they both got daddy issues.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know who their fucking dad even was. They only talk about their grandfather, so as far as I'm concerned, they don't have a dad. But Alphino just seems to really like glomming on to any sort of father figure in his life, and Gaius is his Estinian's gonna show up and be like, no, he's my son. And that'll be 5.0.
Well, you think that Gaius is going to fight with Miss Olivia for custody?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and
unbelievable.
It was a crazy main story patch, man. It's like, anything you want to add about these last few scenes?
No, we pretty much touched on everything. What was I about to say? No, as far as my notes, we touched on everything. Jesus.
No predictions, no anything.
In terms of Solace, I don't know what the fuck Solace is. I really have no clue. Well, we kind of like,
it's pretty transparent, isn't he?
He's transparent, but he's an Ascian, so we know the Ascian in game.
Yeah.
Now, but there's Ascian in game, and then within the realm, within Garlemald, there's Solace's in game. I don't know if those two kind of coincide.
Ascians are pretty single-minded.
Yeah. I mean, we now understand that Solace's endgame for the Garlean Empire is to be this, steamrolling force of chaos and destruction for as long as possible and as much as possible.
Well,
the problem is that none of the Garlean, citizens, even the ones in power, aside from Varys, presumably, but probably basically no one else actually knows what the truth is. And all the Garleans themselves have different agendas, and they're generally based on the lie that was fed to them about Solace.
And another thing that comes back to mind, pretty much the majority, when I say majority, I mean like 99.9% of Garleans don't know that this is going on, correct?
It's literally, I think, Varys and no one else. Like, maybe Gaius, but it's like Varys and nobody else.
I don't think Varys would have known before he became
guards in that room at the same time.
Oh, they're fucking Ascians. They're like minor Ascians, you think so?
Yeah.
They're like the ones that Laha Brea, sends after us early in ARR, and the ones in the Summoner Quest lines, and yeah. Nah, they're totally just puppets.
They're interns.
Yeah, they're Ascian interns. Yeah.
I like
That's
that.
right.
Okay.
My only question is, if Elidibus is Xenos, then how the fuck is another Ascian standing at the head? I mean, I know Elidibus is supposed to be a messenger. He's not really... His primary function is not to be as hands-on. He's supposed to be a messenger for Zodiark himself.
Garlemald is Solace's pet project. I mean,
but which Ascian? Because Solace isn't an Ascian name, and he's not a minor Ascian, so he's one of the ones that's not dead yet.
We don't know there's not an Ascian name. The thing is, like, how is an Ascian made?
It's been too long. FS, just tell us.
Well, an Ascian is just someone with the echo. That's all they are. There's no difference between us and an Ascian. An Ascian is just someone with the echo who, is in the employment of that agenda.
Because
Zodiark's two Ascians love each other.
No, it's not even that. So like it could be that he wasn't born an Ascian. It could be that Solace was born with the echo and discovered the truth and sort of got converted by Elidibus. It could be that he's a Ascian that's been around for thousands and thousands of years that just like possessed or took the body of a young Garland with this plan. Like we don't know. I don't think it's even really that important, to be honest.
Aloha, I hear you. I'll come get you in a second, Aloha. I just want to think it's one of the ones that's named after the Scions of Light, since they've been kind of the major Asians.
Yeah, it probably is, but I don't think it really affects the story one way or the other.
I care. Also, somebody in chat brought up it makes sense now why Varys spit on Solus's grave.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
There's a lot of things that made sense. Like I've been reading through chat as certain things. Like someone brought up why would the Garlands fly the Agrius over Silvertear? Of all things.
Yeah, this is one that's come up a couple of times, and yeah, if Solus is an Asian, then Solus would know that Silvertear represents, the sort of thinnest part of the live stream barrier, and would know that Midgard's Orma was going to be there. And would know that, subsequently there would be lots of primals and shit starting to be summoned all around Eorzea. But I'm not sure that was even on Solus's orders. Wasn't that just Gaius acting on Gaius's own volition?
I don't remember. It's been too long.
The thing, like, it is kind of weird that it would be specifically Mordona. Like, Mordona is nowhere near Girabanya. It's not really like a logical sort of invasion point of egress. So it does make sense that would have been on Solus's command. It does make sense.
So many things. Like, just so we could just keep
everything just sort of falls into place now. It's crazy.
I want 4.5. I want it now.
Yeah, well, January is a little while away, isn't it?
Aloha, you little shit.
Yeah. Gotta get through criminal.
He's being an asshole. Don't dig at the carpet. You're ruining my show. Aloha. There you go. Okay. So anyway, with that, I'm sure we could talk about the main story for ever.
I mean, if you want.
We could. But I think we should probably dive into some of the other story aspects here. Because there was Omega. Guess. There were 4 lords. Domin Enclave we're going through right now. I've already seen a few things in the Domin Enclave that I already know Ethos will ask about on Eorzea, so now he won't ask about them in Eorzea. Because I've made him aware that I'm prepared for them. Sly, what is the Rizai Juku? Go!
A thing.
Where is it and what is it and why was it founded? Hey! Sorry. He's scratching at the carpet.
Did not do Domin reconstruction.
Well, then you should. Because we're learning some things about the Domin history here. I'm ready for it. I'll be ready for that question, Ethos. But I want him to get it first, and then I want to take the point from him.
All right, okay. I'll make a mental note of that for you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ethos.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that, buddy.
Oh, anytime.
So, let's go on to Omega next.
Yeah, all right. I guess.
All right.
I suppose. Can I just like jump in and say that I've never felt more stupid than during this Omega quest line?
Why?
Why? We learned that the dragons came from the Dragon Star.
That was a very
literal Dragon Star. Yeah.
Oh, they came from the Dragon Star. Oh shit. So for those of you who don't know, the Dragon Star is a star that the Ishgardian astrologians basically track because it reveals things about the movements of the Dravanian Horde. Like there's some relationship between the Dravanian Horde and the Dragon Star. We're observing one will kind of like, help you predict things about the other. And that's what the Ishgardians have always called it. They've always called it the Dragon Star. We've known for a little while now that the dragons came from another star, but it never occurred to me that maybe they came from the Dragon Star.
that was one little revelation I'm sure you enjoyed.
Oh, God. I felt so stupid.
And then there was the mention of the 7 of Midgardsormr's offspring. I forget where that was, but
well, Omega refers to him at his full strength before he left the star.
The Dragon Star, yeah.
Yes, the Dragon Star. But Omega here, man.
Omega's from a different star. He's not from the Dragon Star.
No. Yeah, don't. Yeah,
No.
He's from the Omega Star.
He was trying to get back to the Dragon. He was trying to get back to the Omega Star. God, it's just a planet full of beetle-shaped robots. That's it. I thought
that they were from the same star because like the previous tiers of this kind of implied that they were from the same star and they sort of like fought over, I guess, supremacy of the star. But it was whoever, I guess whoever conquered Omega's planet was like invading the Dragon Star.
Yeah, pretty much. And then Omega chased Midgardsormr to our star, and he has
Midgardsormr beat him, which we didn't know. We thought that Midgardsormr was like fleeing in defeat, but Midgardsormr kicked his ass. And then Midgardsormr left, like before he got a chance to sort of repair. Midi was like, "All right, I'm out here."
Yeah, and then he followed him to our star. Now he has no way of getting home.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, is Omega's plot in a fucking nutshell, which was super disappointing.
Well, I think it was interesting that this, like, I guess, Goku prerogative, where he's trying to become more powerful by identifying, defeating more powerful enemies and sort of, reconstructing himself based on the subsequent data. That was not his initial programming. His initial programming was to hunt and destroy Midgardsormr and then return. He's having to execute this new program in order to make himself basically powerful enough that he can return home.
Yeah. And we learned this throughout, honestly, way too few cutscenes to learn the kind of final plot of Omega here. He invites us back. He says, hey, we're going to fight. Alpha, you're fucking worthless now. I sent him to lure you all in, which half of us, I'd assume, have predicted at that point. Because why the hell else would Alpha have existed? And then he just observes us. He's like, I just don't understand how you keep winning. He just keeps saying it. He's like, stop winning. You're not supposed to. My calculations say you can't win. And then you win. You beat the final guy. And he's just like, you know what? You need one more test. Fucking recreates Midgardsormr. Yeah, he's like, you know what? Fuck you.
Fuck you. Go fuck yourself.
And he wants to put you up against the only other creature that ever stood a chance against him. Pretty much. He puts you up against Midgardsormr in his prime, who's much smaller. He looks a lot more like his children in that form, at the very least.
He's a lot younger.
That is true. He is much younger
He's
point.
At least tens of thousands of years younger.
Yeah. And he also and at his young age, he looks a lot more like his children. Because, he's straight up, it's the model. It's the same model that they use for Nidhogg. Well, it's actually, I think it's like a straight up Midgardsormr face on like a Nidhogg body. Pretty much.
Which is also the same skeleton they used for Hreisvelga. Which is also pretty much the same as Bahamut looks like in his, artwork of pre-primal Bahamut.
Yeah.
Like he looks a lot like Bahamut.
Yeah. I mean, they're all his kids, so it's, a lot of people were like, oh, how unoriginal. And I'm like, what, you mean the father? The children looks like the father?
Yeah, right.
I would have never fucking guessed. But yeah, we go through those first two fights and he's still just kind of having his internal crisis. Like, no. He goes Tracy Morgan on us. This is bullshit. Hell no. No. And then he's just like, well, okay, now I need to fight you. Because I should, I need to learn. I need to evolve. Just keeps repeating the same shit over and over again until he loses. And then he's like, all right, well, I learned from this. Time to erase everything. And you're just like, hello? I'm still here. Yeah, no, we'll get another one. See ya. If not for Alpha, we're fucked. Alpha is the main character here. And then we get him.
The one who saved us.
Alpha's the one. I mean, to be fair, Sid saved us. He's the one who gave him the invisibility potion. So I'm giving the credit to Sid here.
We didn't need to be invisible. This was so dumb.
But if we weren't, Omega would have stopped him from stepping on that platform.
No,
and then there's no way we could do anything.
Omega didn't give a shit. He was like, you've been good test subjects, and unfortunately, this process is probably going to destroy you, but oh well. Like, he didn't care. This was unnecessary.
Yeah, pretty much. I'd say the most interesting part for me was actually where Sid's kind of having a crisis with himself with the technology he wants to use to beat Omega. That was probably the most interesting part for me.
Yeah, because it's the lunar transmitter.
Which is the same thing that caused his father and all of his subjects' demise at the hand of the meteor.
Yeah, it's the thing they called Borja Citadel.
Yeah.
And the thing that Nail replicated to actually call down Dalamud.
Yep.
So we knew that we weren't going to be able to beat Omega mano a mano, and that if we did, it would subsequently basically make every fight that we ever do in this game bullshit. Because if we beat Omega without nerfing it in some way, then like, you know, what like there's nothing that can beat us, right?
Yeah.
So the way they explain it is that despite being able to fly through space for hundreds of years, Omega's apparently got really shit insulation and is like super vulnerable to electrical energy.
You want to know what's even more bullshit about that? You don't even use the jammer on him.
No, you use the jammer to interrupt his attack.
Armaments. Yeah.
Yeah, you use it to basically disrupt and interrupt him. Is the way
you use it on the fists and to charge the platform.
Yeah, but the way it's working canonically is that it sort of disrupts his attacks, his systems. But yeah, so what the lunar transmitter was literally doing was converting massive amounts of ether into electrical energy. So it's exactly the same as the machinist, the thing you wear on your hip. Is a converter. It converts your body's ambient ether into electrical energy. It's basically like that, but on a absolutely massive scale.
That we use to destroy fists.
Yeah. And we probably could have used like something else for this. We probably could have used like the ethereal ram or the Tupsamati if we still had it or something like that. But we needed something that could convert huge amounts of ether into electricity and yeah. Give us another Deus Ex Machina.
Slyh, did you care at all at this point about anything Omega related during the story? Because all I cared about was this one interaction with Sid and Nero. And Nero in general.
I kind of cared at the end.
I don't.
Why
did you care?
Done with the Aetherscape. Because it was kind of like, it's kind of like a what the fuck moment. When it said, you know, Aetherscape complete.
It's Alphascape.
I mean, excuse me, Alphascape. Excuse me. Sorry. Yeah, when we were like, once that happens, and then we're in creation. Like, why go to that point? Why go through all that trouble?
He just wanted to go home. He was just ET. He was just ET as a robot. He just wanted to go home.
So what don't you understand about 012?
Creation.
Okay. So basically he realized that his methodology was never going to give him any data on anima, on what a soul was and what a soul was capable of. So he decided that he basically needed to replicate our form in the hopes that somehow being human and being mortal would allow him to understand what a soul was and how it worked and or somehow replicate it. And he failed to do so.
Right.
And like canonically, I'd say he's probably less powerful in the form that he's in 012 because he's made himself mortal.
Yeah, because he's adapting. That's all he's doing. He's just adapting. He like you see it through the text, and like when he's changing forms and everything, you see all the text, and like I forget some of the text.
Well,
yeah,
I think the
he's
very
just
first thing
basically
he says is
adapting
to understand your strengths, I must inherit your weaknesses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's what he says when you pull him in combat. And then he decides to try and understand life from the view of both different genders. Then he tries to understand what it's like to have a comrade. He says he's swapping to party configuration because he sees that people always fight together. And then when you fight him in Savage, it actually is almost a lore appropriate way of him transforming. He determines that mortality literally has no advantages in a sense. There are no actual feasible strengths. And
so he gives up on that.
He literally gives up on that principle in Savage and instead adapts to I guess he instead creates himself as a form of life that is above all else. He says, I am the Alpha, I am the Omega, pretty much. So he instead tries to become a figure that is godlike in a sense. So it almost makes you wish he had it in normal mode. And I feel like that's how I felt throughout all of Omega, where like it always feels like the last fight's kind of half of a fight because they just take the Savage fight and like wean the first half of it. And it feels almost like lore-wise, like it would have made perfect sense for him to do that transformation story-wise. He just determines it's a complete way. Then he doesn't understand anything. He doesn't understand godhood. He doesn't understand mortality. He understands nothing. He's just a robot who wants to go home. And that's it. An alpha he made from being friends with us develops a soul?
Yeah. Yeah. Develops an anima, develops a soul, which Omega could not.
And we learn this.
The power of friendship.
Pretty much. Power of friendship. He understands that limit breaks need a vocal component. Yeah, he does shout macros when he uses his limit breaks. It's pretty funny, actually.
Well, he's seen all these bloody edgelords doing it. So, you know. It's like, I'll
defeat you, Sephiroth!
Am I doing it right?
Optimize. Well, that's what's so optimized about it. He even has the shout macros down packed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything's optimized.
Fucking weird. God damn it. I'd like to point out nothing he does there is optimized either. It's all the same. He sees, he's like, well, X-Death used it. Kefka used it. Guess I gotta use it. Fire 3 Blizzard 3 are like, and I guess Thunder technically are like the dive bombs of this tier. Because every final boss is all like Fire 3, Blizzard 3.
Well, he's not capable of using original mechanics. He's only capable of replicating the data that he's observed.
And so that's why he's got the tier 2 LBs. He uses the Black Mage LB. He uses the Bard LB, I guess 03. I remember people using it in 03. But yeah, he just sees LBs. And then in normal mode, he uses he uses wings. He doesn't even use the tank LB. He just uses wings.
Yeah, he just uses...
So original.
But he uses the Black Mage LB. No Black Mage has ever fought Omega. That's bullshit.
Well, he doesn't. Well, he uses the melee LB, and luckily he didn't have to learn that from a samurai. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Probably not. It's just he uses the tier 2. If he used the tier 3 LB, we'd know a little bit more.
Yeah, I'd be a little bit confused then.
Like, I'm always confused when they use.
Who did he really fight?
I'm always confused when they use the ranged LB3, the caster or the I guess technically the Bard LB3, the Black Mage LB3, and then the melee LB2. And it's like you couldn't have picked you couldn't have picked like one of the LBs, or like you couldn't have done like Dragon Song Dive or Final Heaven or
nah. Melee LB3 is OP.
He's just like melee. Yeah, I just need LB2. Could have used the Chimichanga LB. There you go. Chimatsuri or whatever it's called. That one. That's the ninja one. I don't know what it's called. It's like called Kimatsuri.
Chimichanga.
Yeah. You know, the mechanic that what's her face had, Lakshmi.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. And yeah, I don't know. I didn't care about Omega. By the time it was all over, I just didn't give a fuck.
Okay. So
yeah, those final scenes with Alpha, I was like, All right, you got a soul.
It was cute.
He wants to do his own thing. I like that.
I don't really care about Alpha as a character.
Well, he just got a soul, so you got to warm up to him now.
He's not a character.
No, he can talk to us now. He has to say 2 words.
Yeah. You got to say a sentence.
Yeah, but his whole character is that he's a curious chocobo. And we're like, let's just dedicate like more than half of the cutscenes in this tier to this chocobo.
I mean, he's still curious too. He's out and about.
I really like that.
I don't find it that interesting.
I like that you can legit just find him all over the world, just like exploring shit. I want to find him in 5.0 zones.
Well, I think it's interesting because he's kind of got the same impulse as Omega, right? Where he's trying to learn and grow by observing things.
Yeah. Maybe it's Omega's, maybe what, Ether is in Omega's in Alpha now, and now he gets a second shot at being not a raving lunatic. No? Not having it?
I mean, what, you're suggesting that all of Omega's Ether is in Alpha?
Yeah, man.
No. Yeah. We destroyed Omega. Omega made Alpha, so, Alpha's like a child of Omega's programming. That's what I'm saying. Like, it has similar kind of, learning systems and stuff, but it doesn't have the Ether.
I'm just saying, he got what he took what he knew and he just gave it to Alpha. And now Alpha will be what Omega could never be. He'll go home one day.
Well, yeah, I don't know about that.
He'll turn into a giant. It'll be like. Here's
the thing as well, like statistically, Omega's home world has probably been rejoined since then.
Probably, but he doesn't know that. We don't know.
No, obviously he doesn't. Or maybe he does. Maybe that's why he's so nihilistic.
That's it. I don't know, dude. I just didn't care. Honestly, Nero was the most interesting character because he's starting to look like he has a soul.
Well, yeah.
Nero's been doing his own thing for quite a while.
Yeah, but now I actually feel like he has some, I don't know, some semblance of yes, a personality that's not just a raving lunatic. Less of a raving lunatic. It kind of ties in with the last heroes or the Tales from Stormblood, the 8th one between Sid and Nero when they were young, which looks more like a rivalry that doesn't have to end in blood and is more so just like they just want to one up each other the whole time, and Nero just kind of took the route of colonizing a people or helping to colonize a people. Oh man, I see Ethis going into a lore explanation here.
Yeah, people are a bit confused. Other planets, other stars, other shards, they're synonyms. They're all the same thing. They're the same thing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Established.
They're the same thing. It's been established.
Yeah. And now, I don't know. I want to see I'm actually curious where Nero's adventures are in 5.0, because now we're going back to dealing with Garlemald. He's one of those characters that kind of has to come back to the forefront outside of Omega a little bit, because there's no doubt that Sid will also do the same. I even like that Sid referenced back to If You've Done Them, Labyrinth of the Ancients. And
yeah, that was cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't do it very, like, he could have said that exact same text with no flashbacks, which I think is exactly what happens if you haven't done them. It was because Grahatia and what's her face pops up from Alexander, the female Aura. It's been a while.
Mide.
There you go. Yeah, and Mide pop up. So when he's thinking about his past adventures, so there's a lot of importance of any characters who's a Garlean. They're the only ones I want to see on screen for the next year, pretty much. So
you think they actually come to the forefront of all of this happening right now?
We literally can't do.
No, they have to.
There's no way. Like that's why Gaius is back. That's why we've got.
Yeah, there has to be a reunion between Gaius and Sid and Nero. There has to be.
Dude, I'm expecting Lucia or what's her face. Is that her name? It's been so long since we've.
Yeah, Lucia. Yeah, that'd be great.
I expect her to come back to the forefront. I mean, she's Livia's sister. That's also her homeland as well. So
Arenvold has got to have a pretty big role. I think we'll find Arenvold's daddy.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of characters that suddenly make the Scions look like more like peons than anything else. Because I care way more about these other characters than I care about the Scions right now. By the way, because we really don't have much time left, can we just bring up they changed Merlweb's voice actor again?
I know!
They changed it again.
What?
I like the original.
The only one they changed? The Realm Reborn Merlweb was the best.
I agree.
Yes,
Realm Reborn
agreed.
Merlweb was the best one. They've changed. It's now 3 different voice actresses for. They keep. Well, when you only put one line of dialogue every year and a half for her, I guess it's easy to just say just grab somebody. I don't care. Just get somebody in here to voice her real quick. I don't know who's in the office today. Just grab them. It's just they keep changing her. She's just so unimportant. Man. Oh well. Other than that, we did have the 4 lords.
Yes.
4 lords were interesting. A lot of sexual tension built up in that bird with Tenzin. Way too much sexual tension with that bird. And I never got to tell you that I.
So I never showed you my true form, did I?
Yeah. Tenzin had never seen Suzaku in
Humanoid
the waifu form,
Yeah.
which makes it even more creepy.
Yeah, it's just Suzaku.
I reckon Suzaku was doing him a bit of a domestic, honestly. I mean, she keeps saying "Why are you doing this? Why are you stop making me hit you? I'm doing this for your own good. Why do you? I'm only doing this because I love you."
It's a kink.
Yeah,
it's a kink.
Sounds like it.
It's fucking weird, dude.
Really, the most important thing that came out of me for this, and admittedly, I haven't gotten to sit down and absorb all the texts, so feel free to add something in, but is that it's even Genbu now is saying, yeah, Koryu, before it was Tataru saying, I think we all know that Koryu is coming. Of all people, it was Tataru who first mentioned that there's no way we can avoid Koryu, whereas Genbu was kind of like, we need the 4 lords back to keep the barrier, to make sure that we can protect against him. Now even Genbu's like, yeah, he's coming soon. He'll be here soon. So we really need
even
to get
without Seiryu, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, we really need to get the rest of these Aramatama taken care of.
Well, some people are saying that maybe Seiryu is Koryu. Maybe they're the same Ryu.
Could be. Or that his Aramatama ends up, becoming the vessel for Koryu.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they could do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's all I'm sure we don't understand Aramatama entirely from what they explained. They gave us a rundown on what the Aramatama is. Genbu did. But I'm sure there's still room for that to expand and be used a little bit 2-dimensionally instead of 1-dimensionally. But it just makes me wonder about 4.5 because again, either Seiryu's a dungeon, it's one of many possibilities, but we gotta. Koryu can't be a solo instance. I won't accept it. I won't accept us doing Seiryu as the trial and Koryu as a solo instance.
Yeah, that'd be weird, wouldn't it?
I'd sooner accept dungeon boss Seiryu.
Might be the other way around though.
Could be Seiryu as the solo and Koryu as the trial. Could be. I don't know. Maybe it's 2 trials. Fuck knows, right?
Right.
But I'm not super optimistic for that one because we're also getting. I'm not because we're getting Jimmy at FanFest, and so he'll probably be in 4.5 if there's anything to tell. And if they've actually developed,
is it really going to be a Jimmy?
FanFest, aren't we?
Yeah, we have the Yojimbo trial at FanFest. I doubt that trial is going to be directly tied to Hildebrand. I sincerely doubt it.
I kind of hope it is.
I'd be okay with it being it, but they've just been so adamant about not needing to do all the Hildebrand to get to a trial as one of the main reasons. Yeah. So, yeah. There's possibilities. 4-man. Hey, another Koryu could be like Rathlos, just a 4-man extreme. There you go. I'm okay with that.
We kind of need more of that. Yeah, I'm on board. We need more of that.
But I don't feel like a lot. It's basically the entire patch just spent time explaining, kind of like when with Byakko, where they fought to get the villagers to flee because Genbu couldn't warn them properly of the volcano erupting. It's kind of what, like,
turtle.
it's kind of just that explanation, but for Suzaku, like, how Suzaku was Tenzin's ally. That was, like, the focus that I kind of understood. And it wasn't really... It was interesting, but there's not really much to discuss there. I don't think there are any major revelations. I don't know if Ethis is going over his notes on that right now or not.
Sorry, what am I going over my notes on?
I don't know if there's any of the points that I'm making about... I felt like the story for Four Lords just kind of existed to explain Suzaku's relation to Tenzin this time and remind us that Koryu's on the way.
There wasn't much else in it at the moment.
Yeah.
And that Soroban is now a big turtle.
He is a big turtle.
Soroban's having a hell of a fucking life, man.
It's training. It's training, though. It's training he needs to undergo.
Yeah, but it's like... I feel like Genbu's going to die and Soroban's going to take over as one of the Four Lords at this point.
Yeah, it kind of looks that way. It's kind of pointing out towards that.
They even gave him the same shitty turtle model that Genbu uses in 11. Just the generic Adamantoise model. It's actually not the same model as Genbu. It's just the generic Adamantoise model. Domin Civilization, we can't really talk about too much yet. We've only had 2 lockouts. I will say this, though. My maximum's up to 25,000 now. As of this week, I can now contribute a total of 25,000 to the Domin Enclave. So they're becoming worth more money to me, slowly but surely. And Sly, what's the Rizai Juku? Go. Come on. It's going to be on the quiz.
I have to do Domin Enclave.
You literally just give them items and they give you money for free, Sly.
Yeah.
Good commitment.
Thanks.
Good.
Thanks for letting me know.
You're about as committed as you are to doing the fucking jumping puzzle.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I know Ethis loves. Have you done it, Ethis?
So that's our show.
Why not?
Why?
There's different patterns when you enter.
Oh boy!
There's a Typhon mount to obtain now, and it's like 4,000 MVP. There's achievements.
Man, I'm going to do it right now. I'm logging back in.
Good. You know what I will say? One thing that we keep not getting story about. I really want to know what the fuck the Altars of Uznare. Like, I want to know what the hell is like the actual story relation of Aquapolis and all the Uznare dungeons, because the shifting altars is a lot of fun. If you do all 5 invocations 20 times, you get the title Invoker of Gods, which is a pretty dope title. It's a little edgy, but pretty dope.
So you've done your shifting altars?
Oh yeah.
You done?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So you've gotten the 5th invocation.
I haven't gotten it on my run. No. I've been on 2 runs that got all 5 invocations though, yes. And it's a lot of fun. I just want to know the story reasons behind Uznare, man. And now that we know that the Allagans had their hands in Azim Steppe as much as they did, that thing in the center is not what it appears to be. That throne is definitely an Allagan machination on the fucking inside. I refuse to accept anything else.
Future dungeon, possibly?
That's fair.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's dungeon.
It wouldn't be terribly surprising, would it?
No.
No. There's also a giant hand. That's Allagan, probably. All the pillars, it's a hand. Around the outside.
I mean, the Dawn Throne looks like a kind of proto-Dalamud, doesn't it?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I think that it's possible that that's the ruins of like an Allagan town or city, honestly.
We'll find out one day. We're going to crack that thing open like an egg.
Let all
the lore pour out. Hopefully we'll find out more in Lore Book Part 2.
Out first off.
No, dude, we just got to wait for the Lore Book to come out. We don't got to do shit with the Oradir.
Yeah, we don't need to kick them out. They're fine.
We just need to get this book. That's it. We just need to get this fucking book. And we'll be good. All right, but on that note, as much as I'd love to continue, gentlemen, we're on a bit of a time constraint. We got raid in a few minutes. So I think we should wrap it up. I'll thank the Patreon supporters. And then you guys can tell them where they can find you at. And then we'll be done. Does that sound according to plan?
Yeah.
Size 10-4.
All right. Well, then thank you to our supporters over on Patreon for supporting the show through hashtag demonetized. We got plenty of supporters over there, starting with our patron of light, who I have a picture of, who's making use of the shooting stars meme with Alpha a little bit. And I mean, it's a pretty good area to take a picture. It's literally galaxy brain picture right here. And yeah, it is a really cool looking area. It's just really weird to be there. Story-wise, I was just like, okay, the universe. It's not the one oh, that's right. They gave me another one, but they said that they wanted me to use this one instead. So I'm waiting for another one. That's fine. They gave me 2 pictures last time, but they said use one or the other, and I hadn't considered changing them. So we're good to go. But anyway, thank you to Khuja Cross on Jenova, our patron of light, for supporting the show through hashtag demonetized. We also have all of our other sponsors. We have our standard sponsors, and I hope you guys are tucked in for this one. Senshi, Crimson and Talvia Swift of Coerl, Shadowlink on Tonberry, Dom, Asuka Wake from Jenova, Lemillion of Midgardstormer, Serren the Avalanche family on Malboro, Janhyua Yotsuyu, Kifca and the Great Eagles on Exodus, Darkgraver, Katayoshi from Khuja, Skia Symphonia from Ragnarok, Rah Xephon from Exodus, Rylanator, Westaus the Purple Warrior, Eadric Redsteele on Exodus, Lexxie Valentine, the Mantaru and the Rivivus FC from Zodiark, Sour Cream and Tribes from Jenova, Rynoet Chikara, Goetia Valfer of Serren, Hersh Fersh of Faerie, Phoenix Down FC on Goblin, and Serren from Zodiark. We also have our elite State of the Realm sponsors. We have Jonathan, we have Shinka, Casual Heroes FC on Midgardstormer, Tatachataka of Hyperion, Kanazuki of Jenova, Ustarla on Coerl, Sothal, Sarah Frost from Behemoth, Diablo, Holy Tabasco, Red Thorn of Serrha, Askin Hawk, Kraz015, Mustangs, Serenity FC on Ultras, Kat Kazuma, Serial Kira on Cactar, Ignis Fairgun from Diablos, Valestra of Famfrit, Noct Cords from Excalibur, Krovos Moonscar, Private Mikey, Spike, Nani Kirasami, Rudy Rudiger, Tinkalassis, Killer Hackman Wall Jr., and Killtastic Jones. I know one of those names I need to adjust because someone changed their server. Let me just actually there it goes. Ignis Fairgun is now on Excalibur. So that I'll make that adjustment here while you guys are doing your sign-offs. But thank you to our sponsors, as per usual.
Thank you, everyone.
And now with that, we have to say goodbye. And we always let our guests say goodbye first. So we'll let him and his Namazu, I guess, say where you can generally find them at.
Oh, all right.
So Ethos, yeah, it's your turn.
You can find me as Ethos Asher in all the places: Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram.
You don't have
everywhere.
An Instagram, do you?
Yeah, I got an Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, bro.
All right. What's the next video, Ethos?
I'm sorry, what? Did you say something? You're breaking up. You're breaking up there a little bit.
All right. Well, thanks. Slyh, why don't you say where they can find you at?
You sure you're done, Ethos? You sure? Nothing else? No.
Did I forget anything?
Yeah. You good?
Did I forget something?
No, I'm asking.
I feel that's a trick question.
No,
you go ahead. I'm good.
Okay. Well, you can find me at twitch.tv/Slyakagreyfox, Twitter at Slythefox, youtube.com/development room, facebook.com/Slyakagreyfox. Yeah. Tomorrow we're starting Valkyria Chronicles 4, first one for me. Yay. And for S&T Saturdays, we are finally starting Devil Survivor Overclock. Yeah, a lot of new for you. Perfectly normal days.
Perfectly
right,
fucking
happy?
Normal.
Right, happy?
Yeah, look into my eyes. Perfectly fucking normal.
Please.
Was that the end, Slyh? I changed back to you.
No, that was the end.
Okay.
That was me passing.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm Mr. Happy having a nice normal YouTube, normal Twitter, normal Twitch, normal Facebook, and a normal Instagram. I fixed again the Steelseries Giveaway thing. That'll be under the YouTube video for this episode. Will be the correct one for October, where you'll have about a month to enter, I think before October 24th, for some Steelseries swag. So go and get your free shit if you didn't already. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching this week's episode. We are going to go on into a microscopic post show. Whoa. Yeah. What's up? Oh, I actually did have something to add. I actually did have something to add too.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
You first.
Go ahead.
No, well, you brought it up, so you can do it first.
No. It's probably the same thing, but go ahead.
I'm going to assume it involves a certain community project.
Yes.
Would it be for one Soken?
No.
So then we have two different things. So you go first.
Okay. As Haps probably tweeted out, those of y'all who will be at FanFest.
That's the other announcement that we have. Yes.
Yeah, we will be at the LBR after party.
Hell yeah.
Haps has the link. We have the link. He tweeted it out. I'll tweet it out. But definitely, if you do plan on joining us at FanFest, definitely hit up the LBR after party. You can find the details on Twitter at LBR at Limit Break Radio, and we'll tweet it out ourselves. But yeah, join us, please.
I was scared. I was on LBR for them to announce that I was going to be there. And a Nero said something that had me scared.
Oh.
He said that this would be the last chance to party with LBR. I was scared.
You should be.
I will be. They said that. And everyone's like, what?
Curious.
And I'm like, maybe they're just going sober. Who knows? Jesus, dude, Nero knows how to party, all right? You and him are going to get along real well, Sly. You guys know how to party.
Oh, we do. We do. Every time we see each other, we fucking do. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going to be going to the LBR party again. Check our Twitters. I'll actually include it in the YouTube link as well. But I had another announcement, and this is how I got so lost in things before the end of the show. Somebody's working on a community project. It's a thank you and happy birthday for Soken. That's coming up as well. So I have a link that I will share momentarily. It's very simple. FFXIVcommunity.com for anyone who wants to contribute to this happy birthday for Soken. Go over there. It'll give you what you need to know on how to contribute. There's all sorts of ways to contribute. But yeah, they're going to be uniting all the data centers in this. This will be a global project. So there will be contributors from all 3 regions, North America, Europe, and Japan. So be sure to contribute if you are creative, unlike me. So
challenge, make up lyrics to O11S or O11, excuse me.
Somebody said that he says, appreciate Tinder. And I think that's like the first thing he said. Oh my God. I got some chicken. I'm ready to fry. Fucking swine.
Jeez. Oh no.
Oh God. So stupid.
Oh no.
Oh, it's fucking Rise and the meatballs all over again.
Oh shit.
Oh Jesus. All right, yeah, do that. Come up with your own lyrics to 011 Savage. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Prepare your tenders. No, I can't. I gotta stop. Okay, we're done. The show's done, guys. We'll be back next week to talk about the Rate Tier show next week. I don't know which guest we'll have. If it'll be someone from Elysium or if we'll get Zep. Still undecided at this point, mostly because I haven't asked anyone. But that's going to be the show next week. We're going to be doing a raid, an overview on the raid, and looking back at it versus the rest of the raid tier. So please look forward to a raid show next week. So thank you. Hi. I'm going to go do raid right now, and I will see all of you later. Okay?
Okay.
See you next week.
We're outro now. Bye.
All right.